Ladies, I'm back with a new video. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded a new video. It's just been so busy at work. September is always kind of a crazy time at the children's museum that I work at, so there's been just a lot of weekend events and things like that, so I just haven't had time to film. But now I'm back, and I'm back with a foundation review. And what I specifically want to review today, or kind of talk about, is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Foundation and the Tarte Amazonian, I think it's the Airbrush Mineral Foundation. And so I have both of these. I've tried this one before, just when I got a sample from Sephora, and I loved it and just never really picked it up after, but I finally picked it up, and I got it on QVC on a sale, and it came with their brush here, which is the Buffing Airbrush Finish Foundation brush, and it's I only paid like maybe $2 more or $3 more to get this, and so it was a really great deal. And I love the brushes that Tarte comes out with. They're so soft, and so I figured why not get it. I'm gonna get this anyway, so I got it on QVC. And I got this about, I'm gonna say about maybe 3 months ago, and I've been using it pretty consistently, both when my skin is really nice and when my skin has been breaking out. So I think I got a pretty good idea of how to use this now and what I feel like works best for me. Now the first thing I want to talk about is the liquid foundation, and this one, it says it's a 12-hour makeup oil-free foundation. So it is for, I think it would be really great for people who have oily skin, because it does kind of give a nice natural finish. I wouldn't say it's completely matte, but it is a very nice natural finish, and I don't see myself getting oily throughout the day when I have this. That being said, I have kind of combination dry skin, and so I get a little oily kind of on my cheeks right here, and a little bit on my forehead and my chin, but everywhere else is really, really dry. And I've been using the CoverGirl 3-in-1 foundation, but that one covers great, but I guess on those areas where I have dry patches, it kind of really accentuates those, and it kind of fades a little patchy throughout the day. So I wanted to try this again because I remember that it was so good. And it kind of reminds me of a much better version of the Revlon Color Stay Whipped foundation. If you look at the consistency of the foundation when you put it on your hand, and if you look closely at it, it almost has that mousse-like texture, I guess, where it's not a liquid. It's definitely very like a thick cream, but it's not like a heavy cream. I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like a mousse texture, so it gives you that great coverage while it doesn't pull on any, you know, dry patches. It kind of just seems to glide over it really well. And I find that after about 6 hours, maybe 5-6 hours, that's kind of when I need to touch up with powder. But for me at work, I almost never touch up throughout the day. I get in at 8:30, and by the time I leave the office at 5:30, that's when I look at myself in the mirror and in my car, and then I realize, oh, okay, it's definitely faded on these areas or things like that. And with my CoverGirl one, I always notice that around my nose and around my blemishes, it's faded, or the foundation has kind of settled into the lines or the skin around them, and so it doesn't look nice. And even if you put powder over it, it doesn't seem to really fix it. It just looks more caked on. But with this one, I really like it, because even though it kind of does wear off a little, just because I'm running around everywhere, it's not bad. It's not something that's like really unbearable, where all my blemishes have broken through and it's like totally visible. It's good enough that I can just put a light cover powder foundation on it, top of it, or just even like a finishing powder right on top, and it kind of smooths over again. So I've been really, really liking that, and I've been using that with the brush that it comes with, or that I bought it with. And at first I was kind of hesitant about putting it on. I don't know, when like the first time I tried it, because it's such a big surface area and it's really soft, I guess I just felt like, I don't know if it was really buffing into my skin all the way, or if it felt like it was just getting all absorbed into the brush. And so I used it a couple times, and I actually found that this works amazing. This is like probably the best brush that I've gotten for a foundation brush. Normally I use the Real Techniques one. I think this is just the Expert Face brush. And you can totally tell it's like the size difference it's incredible. This one works so much faster. I can probably buff in my makeup in less than a minute. It's just kind of and I'm done. This one, I've used it with the same foundation, and I found that when I use this one, when I get to it's better for when I'm getting right underneath my eyes and not kind of on my forehead and stuff. But when I get near the areas like my nose or my really dry areas like my chin area right here, it kind of pulls on those dry patches and lifts them a little. So the foundation, while normally it would have just set right on top of it, it kind of makes it look a little worse, the dry patches. And so I kind of have to go back and with my hands kind of just pat it down again. And I just felt like this doesn't really work that well with this foundation. Maybe it's because it's a bit more thicker in consistency, it's a more mousse-like, so I feel like it doesn't work as well. But it works beautifully with this brush, and so I think this brush was a definite good investment. I think even if I didn't get it on the sale, I could probably go get it again, or if something happened to this, I would definitely pick it up again and buy it. I think it's totally worth it for the finish that I get. Next, I want to talk about the Tarte Airbrush foundation, mineral foundation. It's kind of like, you know, Bare Minerals or any other kind of mineral foundation where you pour it into the lid and, you know, you swirl it. But this one is a little different in the fact that it has a little stopper here because the foundation is inside this little sifter here. And the colors are kind of odd for Tarte foundation. I'm not exactly sure why, because I think I have the lightest shade in this one and it's Fair Sand. And then on this one it says Fair Honey, so it says Fair Skin with Peach Undertones, and this is kind of the lightest shade in the Airbrush foundation one. But I think they have a Fair Honey, which is a lot darker in this one, so it's kind of weird. So I would definitely go in, test it out. The only reason why I bought this on QVC is because I had already tried it before and I already knew what color that I was. And this one, I would say that their mineral foundation all kind of have a more warm tone. It's a little bit more orangish. So that's why I decided to choose this one. It is a little, like a smidge too light for me if I'm like really like packing it on. But the next color up, I guess, was a little too orange for me. So it kind of made me look, I guess, dull and more, I don't know, it was just like the wrong color if I were to put it all over my face. Now this I use with the kabuki brush that it comes with, the little baby kabuki brush. And at first I was kind of curious about this brush just because it's such a weird shape. It's tiny, it's really dense, and so I figured, you know, maybe my other kabuki brushes would be a little better. Maybe they work a little better, or I even tried it with this brush before. I've tried it with some other brushes that I have, but I've got to say, I think Tarte really knows what they're doing, because the brushes that come out to accompany the foundations work so nice together. And this one, what I usually do is I don't put concealer on before my mineral foundation, just because I feel like I'm buffing in so much that it's just going to rub it all off. But if I'm having kind of a bad skin day and I still want to wear this mineral foundation because it's for the light feeling that it has, and you know, I just don't want anything that's going to make me feel like I have so much makeup on my face, then I do put a light foundation underneath, or a CC cream underneath. And the two that I like to use are, I like to use this one. The packaging is so dirty, so excuse me. It's the L'Oreal Magic Nude Liquid Powder. Now this foundation was a foundation that I had bought and I had hated because I felt like it was like a pointless foundation. There's like no coverage, it barely does anything, just maybe evens out your skin tone just a little bit. And it kind of made me feel oily throughout the day. So, but I found that I really like it with this, because this one, it dries, it's supposed to say it dries to like a liquid powder, right? So it dries to a really matte finish, and it's kind of more of a powdery finish. So I figured that might be actually really good to put under a mineral powder foundation, because it might have the same, you know, finish, and it won't get really like caked up and stuff. And so I put this one on just a little bit, not, you know, not a ton, just because I'm using it kind of more as a base. And then I'll just kind of wait, you know, a couple minutes, and then I'll go over it with this. And I find that when I do that, I almost don't need to put concealer on afterwards, unless I have some huge breakouts or something like that. But I just find that it works so much better, because when I just use this by itself, because I do have dry skin, it definitely shows up on those dry patches. And I feel like just having something right underneath is a lot better. And I've tried this with like matte primers, kind of. I've tried it with the Lorac primer, I've tried it with Benefit's Professional primer, and it doesn't buff in well with those primers underneath. And I've tried it with even Radiance primers like the Laura Mercier one, and it doesn't seem to do very well with primers for some reason, at least on my skin. So I figured, but it's been working really well with this. When I want something a little bit more heavier, I guess, so something that's going to give me a little bit more coverage but still feel really, really light, then I use the Super Goop CC cream. And I got a little sample of this from my Birchbox, and I actually have already purchased the full size, but when I purchased it, I got the light to medium shade, and this is the fair to light one, and so I had to return it and do all the processing, and it takes forever to return something to Birchbox. Like, the process is fast, but once you ship it, you're just like waiting and waiting, and I think I waited about 2-3 weeks, and now it's finally been, my refund finally has come through, so, and I was able to buy the full size one with my points. But it just takes forever for Birchbox. But I love the CC cream. I think it's amazing, and I'll probably be doing a review on it later because it really is like a CC cream that I haven't tried before. But I'll put that one on my face, and then I'll put this one first. So if you haven't heard about this foundation, basically what you're going to do is you get this little brush and you dab it in. This is what I like to do. I dab it in here, and you are going to see some powder flying because it is a really, really finely milled powder. And I dab it in, and then sometimes I'll swirl it around the sides here. That's why you can probably see that mine is kind of dirty. Or I will dab it onto the lid like this. And it's fine, I think, if you just dab it right on that stopper because the circumference of this brush is not very large anyway. And then what I do is I dab it onto my face. First on my trouble areas, and then I buff it in. So what I like to do is dab, and then dab all over my face in the areas that I need extra coverage, and then I go over and I start buffing it in from my cheeks, and then usually to my chin, and my forehead, around my nose last, and then I go over any last problem areas again. And so I've been really liking this. The only reason why I don't use it as much anymore is because it takes forever, and I'm so lazy, and I just like doing my foundation really, really fast, and so I tend to just grab this one or any other kind of liquid one or a CC cream just because of, you know, how quick it is. I think mineral foundation is definitely for someone who's a little bit more patient or who just really loves mineral foundation and loves the finish it gives. But for me, on a weekday, it takes too much time to go in and do this for, you know, the 5 minutes that it is. And this brush is small, so it takes a long time. I've tried it with a bigger brush just because I thought maybe I could, you know, like make the process a lot quicker, but it just didn't give me the right finish, and I ended up putting on way too much and getting extremely patchy throughout the rest of the day, like where, you know, you have makeup that kind of forms into clumps into certain areas of your face, and so it was just not good. So I figured I'm just gonna stick with the brush that I know will produce really good results. And so yeah, overall I think Tarte does such an amazing job with their packaging, with their formula. I love all of their foundations so far that I've tried. I mean, by far I love this one, but that's because I have really dry skin. But I still get a really beautiful finish with this, and it just makes my face feel very light and airy, like I'm not wearing any foundation, and it's just really, really good for those days when, you know, you want really good skin but you don't want to look like you have makeup on. This one I really like just because of the coverage that's giving me, and right now I have a lot of acne scars and things like that I'm trying to cover up right now. So I've been on this crazy foundation testing, concealer testing phase right now. I think I bought like 2 different concealers yesterday. I bought a different powder foundation a couple of days ago, and so I'm just trying a lot of different things just to see what works best for me right now, and what covers better for me at this moment, especially with the season changing. I always feel like my skin goes a little crazy. So yeah, overall love it. Definitely recommend it if you haven't tried it before. I know you can get a sample of this at Sephora. You might be able to get a sample of this at Sephora also, but I mean, it's not going to be a lot. They're only going to give you a little bit, and I feel like it's really hard to test mineral foundation if you don't have the actual product with you. But yeah, pick this up if you haven't already. It's the best. And definitely pick up the brush too if you haven't gotten it already. It's so soft, and it just feels so good when you just buff it in. It just feels amazing, and it's so quick, so I love it. An A++ in my opinion. Right now Tarte is having a sale. I think they've come out with a bunch of new limited editions for fall on their website. It's not on Sephora, but on their website I just saw like this blush trio, like the Amazonian clay blush, or not a trio, I think they come out with 4. They're smaller sizes, but they're really great, and I actually planning on purchasing it tonight. It's only $34, so I think it's such a steal. And I've actually never tried Amazonian clay blushes before. I've tried it in the store, but I've never actually purchased any of my own, so I'm really excited, and I want to kind of see how that plays out when I finally receive it. So yeah, so thank you everyone. I hope this video wasn't too long. I hope you got a little bit more information about these products. I love doing reviews just because I love watching reviews. Before I buy anything, I always watch at least 10-15 things about a product, and then I finally purchase it. And when I have the product, I'm always like, oh well, I wish someone would have said this, because then that might have made a difference in my decision to buy it or not. So I really like doing reviews just because everyone has different skin and everyone has different preferences, and it's just fun. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.